sometimes you have to realize, you know what, their idea might be better. You have to have an open mind to hear it, because I feel like there's nothing worse than like just not being somebody who's accessible and like no, like the answer is always no before you even get the chance to hear it out. Like how useful is that? It's like not useful at all. As a leader, I feel like I grew a lot because I'm like, you know what, I didn't have the luxury of just saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to do it my way. You guys adapt to me. It was more of me saying, you know what, this is the needs of the people who are helping me. And out of respect for their time, for the process, I've got to make some changes to make sure that I am providing them with all the resources and information that they need so that things can just go smoothly.
Turn this up, turn this up.
Your professional development is one of the keys to your career success. When you combine your desire to grow with actionable steps, your journey to success becomes an incredible reality.
Hi, I'm Paul Foranbi, and welcome to Incredible Paul Leadership, where we learn how to become the most incredible versions of ourselves by learning from each other. Today, I have the honor of having Tyler Franks on the show. He serves as the creative director at his church, Evangel Christian Center in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that. And he's a producer of a TV studio, Alpha and Omega Broadcasting. He's creator, writer, director, and star, doing it all, of upcoming comedy Whodunit, The Jig Is Up, premiering Saturday, September 21st. So I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about that. But Tyler, that was just a little bit about you. Introduce yourself the way you would do it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, dude. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah.
Yes, I am a creative director at my church, Evangel Christian Center here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So being a creative director is a whole lot of stuff. It's not just one thing. We do videography, we design a lot, graphic design, merch design, event planning. It's a ton of stuff. But also, like you mentioned, I am a producer at a local television station here, Alpha Omega Broadcasting. And yes, we are getting ready to launch our very first scripted series in September, and I'm so stoked.
That's super exciting. So how did you get into, I guess, both of those things? Is this something that you'd wanted to do for a while? And I know you mentioned creative directing.
Yeah.
I know outside looking in, it looks like there's a lot of stuff going on, but
Right.
talk me through how all this stuff came to be.
Okay, yeah. Well, a little bit of background. My grandfather founded our church, the church that I work at now, in 1970.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he founded the church and he was the lead pastor. And then he passed in 2014. My dad's the lead pastor now. And the short answer is no. I did not think that I would be a part of ministry, at least full time. So I went to school in Arizona. I went to Grand Canyon University. I got my bachelor's degree there in communication. Communication, again, because I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew that kind of worked for a lot of things whenever I made my mind up. And I actually thought I would stay in Arizona. I thought I would stay there. Yeah, I tried to get jobs out there and nothing was working out. And I really got to the point where I was like praying about it. And I'm like, okay, if I'm meant to be there, a door's going to open. But if not, back to AVQ. And back to AVQ I came, which wasn't a terrible thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Home is always nice place to be. And I've learned to love everything here. The things that I thought I would never like doing, I actually really love doing. And so when I came back, I started working part-time as creative director and then part-time at the television studio. And another fun fact, my grandfather founded our television studio too.
Wow.
So, yeah, I know. So so I was able to get my foot in the door really easily, obviously.
There you go.
And I kind of found my way into television, I guess really organically, because when I was still in Arizona, I'd come home for the summers, of course. And it was when I lived in Arizona that I really realized that there were a lot of people my age who were really in love with Christ. And I'm a Christian. And for me, it was really cool to see so many young college-aged people really just going after their faith. And so when I came home one summer, I think it was in between my sophomore and junior year, I was like, wouldn't it be a cool idea to have like a talk show with like young college age kids talking about God? And so that was my first venture into television. I produced that.
Okay.
Yeah. So we, over the summer, me and 4 friends, we did a show. It was called AIM. And we did like 12 episodes. It was just like we would sit around, kind of like The View or something, where we would just like chat about different topics.
Yeah.
But from like a young, like Christian point of view.
Yeah.
And then the next summer we did a second season. And that was as far as that went. We did the 2. But I think in that time, I was like, okay, I kind of actually like doing TV. Like, this is fun. You can be super creative. You have a vision, and you kind of just get to run with it and do your thing. So that's how I got into the TV side. I think is my big passion, my number one passion. Yeah. But the creative directing side of things allows me to get, my fingers in a whole lot of other things. Like I said, graphic design. There's so much. Like, it's crazy. Like, so I mean, I could go on, but yeah, that's kind of how I got started and everything.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really cool that you said it was called AIM. You had 2 seasons, it sounds like.
2 seasons, yes.
2 seasons. So what were like some of the topics that you had on the show? Was it kind of like current event topics, or like, what was it?
Yeah, I mean, we weren't so much like breaking down the news of the day as much as we were like tackling controversial issues on a larger perspective. So I know we did, and they were pretty controversial. Like, here's another rabbit trail I'll go down. So at the TV studio, we're about to launch our first streaming app on Roku and Amazon Fire Stick. And so as we've been doing that, it's going to be really dope. But as we've been doing that, we've been pulling all the originals that we've made, all the original content. And so I saw some episodes of AIM recently, and I'm like, man, we were really like getting into the nitty gritty. So I'm like, I don't like to watch it, but it's out there. But anyways, if anyone wants to watch it, it's coming up. So let's see. I can think of some of the stuff
we'll have to dive into it.
I know. I'm like, I can't remember. We did, I think at the time it was going into an election year, and we were talking about like free education. That one wasn't too spicy. I think at some point we talked about abortion. We talked we really got into some things. And
you got really in there.
Yeah, we had no fear. Looking back, I'm like, dang, guys, just saying what you wanted to say, huh? Okay.
No, that sounds like a lot of fun, and then you were doing it with friends as well, so I'm sure that made it even better.
It made it a lot less daunting because it was all of our first time like on TV and sharing your personal opinions like that. I mean, being on something like this, it's very vulnerable to just speak your mind. And we were like 19, 20. So we were pretty young. And we were, sometimes you can tell we said stuff we didn't know what we were talking about. But it definitely made it easier to be with friends, for sure.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So talking about friends, we've been friends. I'll let the cat out of the bag, I guess a little bit early, but it just works for the segue. Since I lived in Albuquerque, that was in 2017.
Yeah.
And so that was actually how we met, from your church. And got to see because at that point I think you were already full-time as creative director, or about to start as creative director, something like that. I can't remember when you graduated. Something.
Yeah, I graduated in 2017. So do you know when you moved to Albuquerque?
It was in May, so I think it was probably like right after.
Oh, really?
Maybe you're part. Yeah.
Oh, so no, wait. We probably came back the same time then. We were both coming to Albuquerque the same time, because May would have been when I graduated in Arizona. Oh, I didn't realize that. That's cool. That's cool.
That's
when
really
I came back right away, they started me as creative director. So yeah. As long as you've known me, for sure.
Okay. That's really funny. I didn't realize that was when you guys graduated. That's really funny. But yes, that's how we met. And then I pretty much everything, because when you say creative directing, it really is pretty much everything people see is you had kind of a hand in, right?
Right. So just speaking about like that side of things, any videos that we need produced, edited down, graphics for the screen, if we're designing merch, if we're doing any marketing for an event or social media, all of those things kind of fall under my umbrella. As of late, I've even started to be the worship leader for our midweek service. So I have like that
Oh, wow.
I'm doing that now. Which isn't really a creative director thing, but it's just the way things have worked out recently.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that definitely keeps me busy.
Okay.
I would say that the jig is up, which is my responsibilities on the TV station side,
Yeah.
has consumed me for the past 2.5 years. But that's not to say I have not still been a creative director. That's what I have to
Okay.
do still. In the background, I'm
Fair.
doing that to compartmentalize my brain, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Right. But
So
it's super fun. And like I said, you're never bored. And for me, I am the type of person, like I can get bored really easily with routines. And so like this helps me. It's like always something new to move on to. Like I'm not great with just the same thing. You know, I get bored pretty fast.
Fair enough. Yeah, I know you move pretty fast. There's a lot of stuff always going on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're talking about the jig is up. I know,
Yeah.
is this something that you've been working on with the team for a while and it's finally coming in this September?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I know you had always been a part of the TV side and you mentioned the stuff with the AIM. Like, what was
Yes.
inspiration for this show?
Okay, let's go back in time now. Okay, inspiration for this show. Well, we knew we wanted to start focusing on original content. Streaming has become huge, like you know, everybody has a streaming platform. Even all the old stuff, like you know, I Love Lucy and Andy Griffith Show and all that stuff, like you can find on a streaming platform. So for us, being a television station, we buy content. We buy a lot of content that we air. The content that we don't produce, yeah, we will license and we'll show. But it became more difficult to find with streaming because a lot of those things have been pulled back by their studios, yeah, and been showing on their own platforms. And so we knew we needed to start creating our own original content. And so originally I was like, you know what? I'm not a writer. I probably would hate to sit down and be like line by line. Like that sounds so meticulous and boring. And so I tried to like buy scripts, shopped a lot of different things, and there was nothing that I was like jazzed about. And so me and one of my really good friends just started chatting about ideas, and this whodunit kind of was born out of that. And so what I ended up doing was like, I was still against writing. I was like, I don't want to write. I'll direct. I'll be in it. I'll edit it. I don't want to write it because it sounds so boring. So I got a friend who, you know, Hannah. She's at Evangel. Paul knows who this is. It's just a friend of ours.
Yeah.
And she likes to write.
Shout out to Hannah.
Shout out to Hannah Hunt now. She's married now, so she has a new last name.
Oh,
Hannah
wow.
Hunt.
Okay. Yeah.
But you might remember she likes to write novels and short stories. And so I was like, well, she'll love to write. So I'll just like commission her to write my script. And as she started writing, the process naturally was so collaborative that I was helping write even though I didn't think I was doing it. Like I kind of fell into it and then I loved it. And so me and her and the friend who helped me come up with the concept, we co-wrote the whole series.
Wow.
Yes. And so it's 10 episodes, an hour long each.
Wow.
I know. And I think had we known at the time the amount of work that would be, we would not have done that much for our first ever project. But I don't regret anything now that we're at the end of it. I'm like, oh, it's going to be amazing. I think, of course I think that.
Oh yeah.
And so we wrote it, and then we were so blessed because we had so many friends who were just willing to act in this on a volunteer basis. And so no one was a paid actor. I'm sure at times you might be able to tell that. But no one was a paid actor, okay? We're not professionals. We don't claim to be. But I think everyone really showed up and did an amazing job. Because they were volunteer, though, I worked on their schedule. And so we were filming nights and weekends for 2.5 years. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's why, a production would never take this long for a normal thing. But this wasn't our 9 to 5. We weren't all coming in and doing this. It was like, yo, I've got the scene. We got to do it. Are you free Sunday? Okay, you are, but this person's not, and they're in the scene with you. So what about next Sunday? It was like that for 2 years. Yeah, and but we got it done. We wrapped
Yeah.
In December. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
To lead a project like this, and this is Incredible Paul leadership.
Yeah.
Were there things that you learned about either leadership in general or your leadership style as you had to get these people together on
Mm-hmm.
nights and weekends, and like that just seems like a lot.
Yeah. No, there were times when I was like, I want to pull my hair out, and the actors were very sympathetic, I think, to my position, because they knew, like, I had this one lady, and she's like, it's like herding cats, like trying to get us all together. And I'm like, it's true. But talking about my leadership style, I think the number one thing I learned and had to polish was organization and preparation. Because, like I've been saying, I'm not a very detail oriented person. I don't like to I get really bored with the details. And I don't do a lot of organization, as far as like, I'd rather just wing it. I just go for it and see what happens. That's like my number one phrase. I'm like, let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
But when you are giving direction to that many people, that's just the actors, and then you have the crew. You're trying to find locations. You're working with companies who are letting you go on site, or whatever it is that you're doing. You don't have the luxury of being like, whatever, guys, like, just show up. Like, you know, obviously you can't. So I had to become very, very detail oriented, and that's something that is not natural for me. And so as a leader, I feel like I grew a lot, because I'm like, you know what? I didn't have the luxury of just saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to do it my way. You guys adapt to me. It was more of me saying, you know what? This is the needs of the people who are helping me. And out of respect for their time, for the process, I've got to make some changes to make sure that I am providing them with all the resources and information that they need, so that things can just go smoothly. The last thing you want is for everyone to show up and we're like, hey, where's my costume? And I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even realize you needed one. You know what I mean? Like, that it's going to be a disaster. We'd have never gotten here. So I was definitely working on it every day, like every day.
Okay.
And it was so much fun. I loved it. But yeah, that was the number one lesson I learned.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a really crucial what you called out, like really meeting people where they're at, and really that's really what servant leadership looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's easy for leaders to say like, well, I'm in charge, I'm the manager, I'm the supervisor, I'm the director, I'm the writer, whatever it is, and be like, do as I say, it's my way or the highway.
Yeah.
But I think just from, first of all, a lot of the people you're dealing with were volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
So they were just like, well, I could just go do something else. But then you have to tap into like what they're passionate about, what inspires them, because I'm sure there were days when you were filming that people maybe were not in the best mood or just didn't understand what needed to be done. And then you as a leader had to show them and meet them where they were at. So I think that, and then the detail-oriented piece, like you mentioned too, like even understanding that you're not a detail-oriented person, and then learning to be better at it and bringing people around you that could complement you, I think is really good leadership. Are you wondering what's next? Has everything you tried failed? Or maybe you just feel stuck? Then coaching might be right for you. The coaching relationship is a relationship totally centered on you. If you're tired of running on the hamster wheel of life and want to start to see results, reach out to Incredible Paul for help. So what are you waiting for? Go to incrediblepaul.org/coaching, INCREDIPAUL.org/coaching, or at I am Incredible Paul on all my socials. Or you can click the link in the bio for your free coaching session. I want to make sure you become the most incredible version of yourself.
Yeah, and I think like what you were saying, just remembering that as the leader, you set the tone for the whole project. I think as follower of the leader, for lack of a better term. Sometimes you can be like sitting back and being like, okay, like what's the deal? What are we doing? But as the leader, like if someone is in a bad mood, or maybe we're not feeling it today, but we're here and we know we have to do it, and someone's like, ugh, I can't match your energy and be like, oh yeah, like, ugh, because then we're all down. No. It's down the tubes. You know what I mean?
You can't do that.
I've got to be like, you know what? It's going to be a little bit of a challenge today. That's okay, because I believe it's going to go off well. We've been preparing. It's going to be fun. Let's go for it. You know what I mean? And that's not always easy. That's really not always easy, because sometimes if you're on a set with 20, or if you're in a meeting with however many people, whatever it is that anybody listening, whatever setting you're in, and everybody's a little bit like, it's so easy to be like, oh yeah, but you can't. You have to be like positive and, hey guys, we got this. We can do it. Let's power through. It's going to be great.
Yes. Having that vision in mind so that you can actually reach the goal. I know a lot of times in leadership, you have to remind people of like what the end goal is, because I think it's really easy to get stuck in the day to day and be like, what are we really here for?
Yeah, definitely. So it was a lot of fun. There were definitely days when I wasn't feeling it. There were definitely days, and our show is set in fall. So we were filming in the summers in like full coats and like blazers, sweaters, and it's 90 degrees outside and it's miserable, right? And I have like tons of extras, and I'm like, all right, for this shot, all the extras, go inside, get like some water. And I'm out there and I'm sweating, but then I'm on camera, so I have to like, be blotting. And those are the days when it's easy to be like, why did I do this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, God helped me. I prayed my way through it. And whenever I got home, then I could chill. Then I could chill when I got home. But on the job, you got to do your part,
Yes. Got to do your part. I know, we're both people of faith, and I know not everyone listening to this is a person of faith, but I know for me personally, and I know you probably feel the same way, I don't think there's really definitely any week or any day I feel like I don't need God for something that comes up. I'm like, God, what am I doing? I need you in this moment. And like, I know 100%. You're saying when you don't feel like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I appreciate the platform to be able to say like, this is what I did and how I tried. But honestly, like I have to give all the glory to God, because there were times when we would write a scene when it's like, how are we going to film that, guys? Like, what were you thinking when you wrote it? Because how are we going to get this location, right? How are we going to do that stunt? But God always came through, like every single time. I can say like with still like awe that we didn't pay for a single location on the entire production.
What?
We didn't pay to go to a single place. No one asked for like an insurance. Like it was all, the doors were just open to us because we asked. We just asked and said, hey, we're doing this production in town. We love your site. Would you allow us to come in for a few hours and shoot here? And it was always yes. It was always yes. And even if there was a place that said, no, we can't accommodate, there was another place the door would open like last minute sometimes. I remember having conversations with my dad who helped do some location scouting. And there were a few times where he's like, we're not going to get that location. We're not going to get it. And I'm like, I would tell my dad, I'm like, okay, I have like 20 other tabs open. I can't think about it. Just do it. Like, please just ask. Just ask. It's gonna,
just ask the question.
Someone's going to say yes. They have to say yes, because I can't have all these people waiting. The crew, we're on a timeline, and they say no. It's going to have to happen. And we pray about it, and it always worked out. And so you're so right. Like, this project was done. It's like, I should put God in the credits because he did some work on this baby.
Yes. Yeah. God gets all the glory.
For real.
I really love that. That's really good.
Yeah, man.
Was there any part of this process that would surprise you the most? Either maybe it went smoother than you thought or was harder than you thought. I know you kind of mentioned like some of the stuff with locations, but I didn't know like maybe other things that you learned from even creating a TV show that people may not know of, like anything really.
Yeah, I think So, and I don't know how much like the listeners know about like film or anything, but like, so ours was a multicam production. So just literally means we had several cameras on each shoot.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I think in the beginning I went overboard on getting coverage of everything on every camera. And I was like, because
Okay.
I was worried, I was like, I don't
Oh, okay.
know how to do this because it was my first time doing a scripted.
Mm.
And I was like, so let's just shoot and do take after take after take. And when you get to the editing bay and it's like hours of footage to put together,
Oh, from each
and
camera.
sort through it, sync them all up. And I'm like, oh, so I got smart at the end of it. And I kind of refined it and I was like, okay, what do we
Yeah.
need to see here? How do I need to
Yeah.
capture it? That was something that I definitely learned that saved me time in post. Because there was a time for about probably the last 10 months of production where I was editing while we were filming still.
Oh, wow.
And we were writing while we were filming too. It was like,
Oh,
we were on
man.
episode 2 and they're like, how does this end? And we're like, I don't know. We're writing it. So we kind of knew where we were going, but we didn't know how we were going to get there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And so I think all of those things sometimes felt very overwhelming.
Okay.
And I learned from a lot of my mistakes. So that was one thing. And also it was kind of tricky to be the director and then have to say, okay, action, run around and sit into the scene. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
How did you do that?
it, like, okay, so like a day on set looked like this.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, call time for the crew. We come in to wherever it is we're shooting. And then I was like, okay, I'd text them beforehand. Okay, guys, we need this many cameras. We need this many microphones, the lapels that you have, these little ones that stick on you so you don't see it.
Yeah.
Help get better audio, the boom, how many lights? Do we need a reflector? We're going to be outside, whatever. So they'd come, get all the gear prepped. And then I'd talk them through the scene. I'd say, okay, we're doing this. This is who's showing up. This is where we're going to be. I want my first shot here, da, 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 da. Then people would start to arrive, actors. And I'd be like, I'm going to run and get in my costume. Run, put mine on, go back, be like, hey guys, thanks for showing up. Everybody got what they need. Here's your costume. Here's yours. This is what you're doing. We know our lines. Cool. Check on the crew. We'd all set up. Then it's like, they always ask me, they're like, can you sign off on the shot? So I'd go behind the camera, be like, yes, this is what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Then it would be like, I'd sit into it on front of the camera and I'd be like, okay, this is scene 5, shot 2, take 1, clap, action, in character. So that's kind of how it went, which
Wow.
is, again, like for my first venture out, I don't know why I made this so hard on myself, but it's fun. Now it's like, I can just say I've been involved in every part of it. So
Yes, literally in every part of it. Wow.
Yep.
That is truly incredible. I can't even wrap my mind around that. Like how many things are constantly going through your head, like even while you're in the scene acting and then someone else is doing something
It was
and
probably
maybe
a
they're
little
not
bit.
supposed.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was probably a little unwise because there were moments when I'd call action on the scene and say it's your line first. So then you say to me, and I'm thinking in the moment, I'm like, I don't even know what my line is. I didn't even check because I spent my
Oh,
week
yeah.
like finding what we're all wearing or like
Okay.
whatever. So like
Yeah.
thankfully I wrote it, so I always kind of knew what I should be saying.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah. But
that helps.
Maybe a tip would be, guys, like don't bite off more than you can chew because there will be sometimes it makes things hard, life hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's funny you say that because that relates directly to leadership. Because a lot of times, whether you're leading a TV show or leading a team, as leaders, there's a tendency because we have the vision, we know exactly what we want to do, and because we know what we want to do, we know exactly how to do it. But John Maxwell, expert in leadership, talks about that there's always a right answer and there's also multiple right answers. And so a lot of times as leaders, we can get caught up in this is where we did it last time. It worked really well. We have to do it this way. But as you get more people involved and even just leveraging different people's strengths, you understand that this may have worked last time, but that there might be a different way to do it, a better way to do it. Not that
Yeah.
last time was bad, but there's that incremental growth. Like James Clear talks about getting 1% better every day.
Mm.
And so as a leader, being mindful of that as you're trying to get things together and keep people motivated,
Yeah.
that I think I've heard it said that if someone else can do something like 80% as good as you, try to delegate it. I know not everyone is in a position to delegate, so it's easier said than done. Sometimes you have to be the one to do it. But I think that's a good point from what you said. Like sometimes you're just doing too much.
Yeah. And like you were saying, I think I definitely learned over the course of it how to relinquish some control. Because when you're doing so many things, you're in charge of so many things, it's easy to be like, yeah, I'm the guy, I've got the plan. So don't worry about it. You've got a question. Don't worry. I've got that. I've got the plan, but there were times even in the writing room, I think is where it started initially, where someone's like, what if it did this? And I'm like, that's not what I was thinking. And I'm thinking like, this is like, I'm got to direct it. So like, I kind of want to do what I want to do. But sometimes you have to realize, what their idea might be better. You have to have an open mind to hear it. Because I feel like there's nothing worse than like just not being somebody who's accessible and like, no, like the answer is always no before you even get the chance to hear it out. Like how useful is that? It's like not useful at all. So I think that's one thing that I definitely learned early. And we did butt heads a little bit over like, how are we going to get there? How are we going to do that? But there came a time when I was like, okay, we're going to take turns. I'm going to write this episode and then you're going to write that episode. And then we would tailor after the person would give us the first draft. We'd say, okay, this is great. I only have 2 comments. And we'd reconcile all of our issues and we'd move on. Okay. But you know what? Like you said, giving up some of that control, delegating definitely makes it easier on you as a leader. And sometimes it seems counterintuitive because you think, no, I've got to lead. I've got to do it. But part of leading is like giving somebody the chance to, and just making sure that they have the tools, they know what direction we're going in and letting them spread their wings,
Yeah, that's a good point. Just allowing people, honestly, allowing people the opportunity to fail. Yeah. And it's because I struggle with this all the time, and I have to remind myself that if I don't give someone the opportunity to fail, not to say that they're going to fail, but if I don't give them the opportunity to fail, I don't give them the opportunity to succeed either. And when you do that, that's when people can feel like you're micromanaging them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely don't need more on my plate. I don't need to be micromanaging, Paul. Okay. So, so I'll let them do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm definitely cool with that now. That's awesome.
That's good. So I know you said you've worked on this for the last 2.5 years. It's coming to the completion, coming in September. Keep saying that. September 21st.
Yep.
Because I know people need to keep hearing that so they know how to tune into that. I think you said it's also going to be streamed as well, because I know Alpha and Omega Broadcasting is in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but can other people who are not in Albuquerque also access it?
Yes. So our broadcast television network does have a reach of New Mexico and portions of the surrounding states. But of course, there are people who all of the cast and crew know, family all over the country, and they want to see it. And they're like, how can we watch it? And that was really one of the catalysts for the streaming platform that we have now on Roku, and we're getting on Amazon Fire Stick. And so awesome. It's going to be really cool. It's in its beta version right now, so it's not totally public. But it is called AO for Alpha and Omega, AO Family and Classics. So that's the name of the streaming channel on Roku. And so you'd be able to go on there and watch all of the Alpha Omega originals. We call them AO originals. So anything from The Jig Is Up to AIM, if you want to watch that. Anything that we've produced in-house as original content will be housed there. But we also have family programming and classic programming. So we have, I'm trying to think of all the stuff they bought. We have the Lucy Show. We have... Yeah, like a lot of old westerns. We have like pirate shows. Like I haven't looked at the
Pirate
library
shows.
recently. It's like a bunch of black and white stuff from back in the day. So that's
Oh,
the
okay.
classics, right?
Okay.
And then we have the
Okay.
family movies too. So it's
Okay.
kind of like its own little Netflix. You can get
Cool.
family programming, classic programming, and the originals. And when the Jig is Up premieres in September, it will also be available on AO Family Classics for anyone to watch anywhere.
Um,
Yeah.
so make sure that comes across the screen, and it'll be in the show notes as well,
Yes.
because we were talking about the show, and I know we've been talking about it because you, like you said, you've been working out for a while, and I would
Mhm.
ask about how things are going. I saw some days or weeks were better than others, so
Yeah.
I've known about this for a while, so I've been anxiously awaiting
I
it.
know,
So
dude.
it's
And
I'm
you're
sure
gonna
you
see,
more so.
I know, but bro, you're gonna see so many like familiar faces because you know, like a lot, you know us. So like it's all of
Yeah,
us on there.
yeah.
Like Cindy's in it, Mike. I won't bore everybody listening with these names they don't know, but
Yeah.
Rachel, me, and my sister, my mom. So like,
Okay.
see, I have all my family in it too. There's at one point I told people, I'm like, if I know you and you are in Albuquerque, you are in my show. Like I don't care because I need people, even if you're an extra. Okay,
That's
I
funny.
basically carrying around the release forms. But yeah,
That's hilarious.
it'll be great. You'll love it. And you were always hyping me up, because I would put behind the scenes stuff on my Instagram,
Oh
trying to
yeah.
get people to like, be aware of it. And you were always like, yes, like this looks awesome. And I was like, yeah, Paul's in my corner. This is awesome. So thank
Oh,
you.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I was super excited. And then and that was one of the things, because I think I don't remember which episode, like it was, why it came up. Oh yeah, I was talking about like how I lived in Albuquerque, and I was like
Yeah.
talking about you, and I was like, I need to have you on the show. And then pretty much right after that, I texted you, or like when the episode came out, I was like, yeah, we have you on the show. We need to talk about your show coming up,
Yeah.
and then just chalk it up, because we haven't really talked. Why we text every now and then, we haven't got to like talk in a
No,
while.
yeah. I mean, you came through to Albuquerque about a year ago. Is that right?
I think it was like probably a couple years ago now. I think it
Okay.
was I think it was 2022,
Mm.
because that was still when I was still at Nestle Purina, and I think I was up in Flagstaff, either Flagstaff or Denver, and I just drove
Okay.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we got to hang out for a bit there, and then
Yeah.
you came over and we watched some Netflix. There's that show, which I still haven't finished season 2 of the show. Paul,
Oh my goodness.
I know. I kind of like just stopped. I need to watch it. I know it's so terrible.
Okay. Okay. This is almost going to turn into commercial for Netflix, but this show, Imposter or
So
Imposters, one of the best shows I've ever seen. Yeah, we started watching it there because you got a house and everything, which your house is amazing.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like everything you've done with that. And then I was like, once I went back, I was like, I need to finish watching the show and watch season 2. And then I feel like that was literally like almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, it had to have been. Now that I think about it, yeah, it had to have been because we binged like a lot of season 1.
Yeah,
we sat there and watched a ton of it, and then you had to go and we finished it on our own. And you told me you're like season 2 is great, and I'm like, okay, yeah.
Yes.
And I like never
It's like season 2 is better. It's
Really?
better.
Oh shoot.
Yes.
Oh dang.
Yes.
Okay. I need to watch it then. I gotta spend some time watching some TV. Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Yes.
So yeah, no, it
now
has been a minute.
Yeah, it has been a minute. Now you got done directing, starring, doing all the stuff for your show. Now you can finish this other show.
Right. Yeah, there are other shows that exist besides The Jig Is Up out there. Okay. I gotta remind myself.
But they don't matter as much. Like everyone watching or listening, The Jig Is Up is the only show that you should ever watch going forward. Just
That's
keep
right.
watching reruns, going off on Omega, all of that
There's
stuff.
plenty. Oh, and I should say, on the streaming platform, for anyone who's watching it there, that they're extended episodes too. So if that wasn't enough, if the hour longs weren't enough for you on TV, there's extended episodes on there too. And then I think we're even gonna have a after show with the writers, like breaking down the episodes and things like that. So again, like always thinking of ways to create more content for the streaming platform.
Yes.
But yeah. So definitely subscribe to AO Family and Classics. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been talking a lot about the show, and we talked a little bit about like kind of your journey into working in the church as creative director. But is there anything else about like you or what you like to do that you want to talk about?
Man, me and what I like to do.
And I kind of
Uh,
just put you on the spot. I know we like
uh,
to get food was something we were both interested in.
yeah, definitely. And you know what? I've become like a little bit of a cook lately. I
Oh,
never
really?
thought,
Yeah, tell me
yeah.
more about that.
Okay, because I'm also another thing about me is I don't like to be messy. Like I'm not a messy guy.
Yeah.
But somehow like making a mess in the kitchen is very fun for me. And so like lately
So
I'm like,
random.
yeah, and I'm like, going through Instagram, you can like mindlessly scroll. And I
Oh,
see so
yes.
many cooking videos and I'm like, this stuff is like looks so good. You can't just like find it
Mhm.
too at a restaurant, and so I've like been cooking a lot. And so I do like to cook. Whenever I'm like just at the house chilling, I like to
Yeah.
cook. And I live with my sister, so she's down to just like clean. I'll cook and she cleans up.
Oh,
Yeah, so
that's
I'm like,
perfect.
it's a great deal. Yeah, and so I do like to do that. But just constantly learning. Like this last week, I was a part of a 48-hour film festival. So one of the guys who,
Oh.
yeah, he's one of the guys who does some post production work for me on my show. He's also like a cinematographer, and he's like, "Hey, would you want to try the 48-hour film?" And I'm like, I've never done it. So I said
Yeah,
yes.
what? How does that work? Like, what is that exact? Because I think I saw you post about it, but I didn't know what it was
I didn't know either.
specifically.
So I learned a lot this last weekend. So basically,
Okay.
the one for Albuquerque, and I assume they're all similar. The way that
Okay.
it works is the director of the group will, he'll register the team, and then you go on like a Friday, I think they went, and you're randomly assigned a genre. So you get a genre,
Oh.
a character you have to use, a line you have to say, and a prop you have to use. And I think that's to ensure that like you're not already working on it previously.
Oh,
You know what I
okay.
mean?
That makes sense.
Um, and so they get that, and so he emailed us like Friday night, and he's like, "Yo, guys, we got drama." So it was pretty good one. Like I know sometimes you can get like musical or silent film, like something hard. Yeah. So he
Silent film. I don't even know how you do. Yeah.
Me neither. I'm so glad we got like drama, right? So
Okay.
they're like, we're gonna be writing script all night. Um
Mm.
and so Saturday morning we had to show up at the location at well, I had 9:30, so it wasn't that bad. Some people were there at 6. And then we got there, they gave us the
Wow.
script. Yeah. And it's only like 6 pages because it's a short film. Um and they're like, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is the story. And then we spent 13 and a half hours filming that day. So it was a long day. And I
Yeah.
was just saying, like, I don't like to get dirty. Okay, they had us outside covered in dirt. It's like a post apocalyptic thing. That was the
Oh,
concept.
okay.
Um,
Okay.
we were sweating. It was rough. But, I have like this little, it looks like I got punched. So it was perfect
Yeah.
because I looked like tore up anyways out there. Um, and so it was my first experience. We did it, and then again, I had the good side of it because I got to go home, shower, go to bed, and by the time I knew it, Sunday night, it was done. They had to stay and edit it. Yeah,
Oh, so they also edited it all in that 48 hours too?
yeah. So when we wrapped on Saturday night, right? They got the genre Friday night. We wrapped
Yeah.
Saturday night. They had to submit by Sunday at 7 p.m.
Whoa.
Yeah. So he didn't sleep. He stayed up all Saturday night into Sunday and polished the whole thing. So he said he submitted it with 10 minutes to spare. Yeah.
It's
10
spare.
minutes. I know. And so this
Wow.
coming weekend, they have a screening and you can win
Okay.
awards. So the team I'm with got second place last year. So that was cool. That was cool. Yeah.
Wow.
And so I don't know where he puts it. Like if it'll be available publicly, I'll find out. If I can find out, I'll
Yeah.
let you know. Maybe we could put it if people want to
Oh yeah,
check it
for
out.
sure. If
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. If it's available publicly,
Mm-hmm.
like this probably won't come out for at least a couple of weeks. So
Oh, perfect.
we
Yeah.
can put a link to it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So anyways, I mean, just watching him and his team like helped me learn even more about like, oh, like this is how you can film a group shot. Cuz for me, I was always like, man, you have group scenes. I'm like I probably need like 5 cameras, right? But you know, he's smarter about it. He's had so much more experience, and so I learned a lot just by watching. And so I like to,
Oh wow.
you know, say yes to things like that if I ever can, because I feel like it's
Hmm.
just a cool way to experience new things and learn new things too. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. And that ties, like I always tie it back to leadership. Leadership is just constantly learning because as leaders, we're never going to know everything about any subject. And that,
Mm-hmm.
especially about some things we're just never going to know at all.
Yeah.
So being intentional about learning and then knowing who to learn from is just as critical.
Yeah, dude, I've got to say too, it's kind of like this project has kind of ruined watching TV for me because I'll be watching a show and like I'll turn to my sister and I'll be like, "Did you see how that was all like a one shot?" And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Never mind." But like I notice now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Or like whatever it
Okay.
is. Or I'll be like, "How did they
Okay.
get that shot?" Like it's just makes me curious about it all now. So that's cool for me because I'm like, it just makes
Yeah.
me want to keep learning and doing more. So yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. Oh, yeah, it's been a really good conversation, and I know we could keep going and going, but we're about out of time. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about, either about the Jig is Up, about Tyler Franks, life in Albuquerque that you want to talk about?
Life in ABQ, man. You know,
ABQ, the land of
the
enchantment.
land of enchantment, dude. You know, I mean, I feel like we covered a lot of the big things that I'm involved with. Again, like my church and my church community, they really helped me on this project too. A lot of them came to be actors and extras, and I also I like lead the young adults group at my church still. You were part of it
Oh
when we
yeah,
did that.
yeah,
Still
yeah.
doing that, so that's something that didn't go away. Still working on those
Wow.
things. Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
so I'm
So shout
busy.
out to Evangel.
Yeah, Evangel Christian Center. Let's go, baby. I'm here now, my office.
Oh,
So,
there you
yeah,
go.
this is where I am. So yeah, I mean, that's really like any given day. You can find me down here working, grinding. But if not, I'm probably at home cooking or dissecting a
There
TV
you
show
go.
or like chilling with my dog. So, yeah,
There you go.
it's
Yeah,
awesome, man.
Peter Barker, right?
Peter, yes. Yeah, I know. We're big
Yes.
Spider-Man fans, so Peter Barker. Yeah,
Yes. Peter Barker.
I know.
That's perfect.
He's a
No,
cutie.
I didn't tell you this, but I think this is a perfect opportunity that so I work for Mars pet food company, right?
Yeah,
And one of the dogs that was like up for adoption was named Peter Parker.
Peter Parker
Yeah.
though. Oh, so not the Barker
Yes.
part.
It wasn't Barker, so I was like, they missed a crucial
They
opportunity for
did,
a pun.
and
And
you.
as you can know from the name of my show, that I love
Oh
puns.
yeah, dude. Okay, so I'm gonna. I feel like okay, so I want to get another one eventually, and like a
Okay.
brother for Peter. And I already have a
Yeah.
name picked out for him, but I kind of feel like protective about saying it because it's another like Marvel name. Should I just tell you what it is? No,
I
I'll.
think
Should I just keep
everyone
it?
on the podcast would love to hear it.
Okay,
And this
so
is the way you can do it.
I
Or I
want
can
it.
cut it out if you don't want to.
No,
If you
it's
don't want
fine.
to.
I mean, if
Either.
someone else names their dog, whatever. But anyways, so I have Peter Barker, and then I want to have Harry Osbark, like Harry Osborn, his friend.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be great, Harry Osbark?
Yes.
So I
Yes.
think I'm gonna do that next.
You got to do that.
I think I will. So I'm
Yes.
gonna have Peter and Harry. Yeah. So
Peter
that's
and
gonna be
Harry.
great.
No, that's perfect.
I
Perfect.
know, dude. You know, I was thinking, and this is so off topic, so you can cut this
Yeah.
out maybe if you don't want this in the podcast. But
Probably not going to cut it out.
Okay, when you were with the cereal at General Mills, I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I was grocery shopping. I'm like, why do they always discontinue all my favorite cereals? Like every time I find a cereal I like, and you know, I love like Special K. Like you're always
Yes,
telling me
you
I
do.
like the
And I
boring
gave you a
ones.
hard time about that. I was like, why special K?
I like it like straight down the line cereal. Like I don't need chocolate in
Yeah.
it. I don't nothing like that. But
Yeah.
whenever I find a cereal I love, it's like the next time I go, discontinued. I'm like, I can't eat cereal anymore because there's never a one I like. Why, Paul? Why are they doing this to me?
I don't know. I can't tell you that. I can tell you how to make some pet food now, but I can't tell you about cereal anymore.
Okay. All right. We might have to have a conversation about pet food.
Yeah, we can do that offline.
Okay. Sounds good.
No,
Sweet,
but
man.
it was really great having you on the show.
Yes.
Reconnecting with you. It's been way too long,
Mm-hmm.
but you sharing your story about what you did at GCU, Go Lopes. I don't know if I did it right.
Yeah. Lopes up,
Yeah,
baby.
go Lopes. And like just trying to understand like what you're going to do after you graduated, came back to Albuquerque, got involved in Evangel, working full time in the church, but doing a lot more than that. All the stuff you're doing in the TV show, Alpha and Omega Productions, and then also creating the show, starring in the show, directing the show, coordinating all that. Pretty much doing everything.
I can't think about
for
it
the
all at
Chickasaw.
once, okay? I can't think about it all at once. One thing at a time. One thing at a time. Then move
Yes.
on to the next one. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. You're so awesome. I love that we've stayed in touch after all these years. I keep up with
Yes.
Incredipol. I watch it. TikTok, Instagram. I'm there.
I appreciate it.
So it's awesome,
Appreciate
dude. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it, bro.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure having you. I want to make sure people, I know we talked about it a few times, so definitely share how people can watch the show, how they can get connected with you, everything.
Totally. Yeah. So my personal Instagram is Tyler E. Franks. I'm trying to get the handle for just Tyler Franks, but it's Tyler E. Franks right now. So if you want to find me, but otherwise the show is The Jig Is Up TV. And we're on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. So The Jig Is Up TV is the handle. And then Alpha Omega Broadcasting is at AO Broadcasting. So that's where you can find all our stuff.
Awesome.
Yep.
I said it wrong. Alpha Omega Broadcasting, not Productions.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah. No worries.
Yeah. Alpha
You'll
Omega,
find us either way.
Either way. But so those should have come across the screen. But yeah, Tyler, it's great reconnecting with you.
Thanks, man.
And for everyone else that's listening or watching the podcast, thanks for supporting it. I want you to go support my friend Tyler and his new TV show coming soon to a streaming service near you or TV near you if you're in the New Mexico area.
Let's go.
But it was fun. Hope you learned something from his story about how to lead a new initiative, lead something that is brand new, might seem scary, might seem overwhelming at times. Lean into your leadership, continue to learn, and you can truly be incredible.
Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. We'll see you here next time. And be incredible. Incredible.